Right, never done this before. I've had to walk like through a park and try and find a secluded place because I feel like my social anxiety is still not there yet when it comes to talking to people. I also understand that, this isn't something I do often, and yeah, I mean, the only way you're gonna get something out of yourself if you push yourself, right? So I thought I'd share like a little story about someone I used to know, or at least someone that I used to be close with, and I don't know what he's doing right now. I don't have contact with him, though I think he was a good friend in my opinion, and we even never met in real life. It's funny how someone who was really close to me happened to be someone I knew online, like closer than most people who, I know in real life. So it really takes it away where, if I maybe met him, would we still be friends to this day? And nothing between us happened. Anyways, back to the story, and something I really wanted to share is something I really had experience with him, or in a sense where he was someone close to me, right? And not only close, he would be always coming for help for me. And it would be random day, random Monday, random Tuesday, a random Thursday. And we'd always talk to each other, and we'd always be there for each other, whether it was for me or whether it was for him. We did it on a very inconsistent pace, but you know, speaking wise, we still ended up being close to each other, and that I cannot take away. He lived on another continent, which was a very, very scary thing because it's not like, oh, I can just hop on a 10-minute train or a 20-minute car journey and realize that, we're neighbors in a sense. And yeah, just speaking wise, I really feel like our friendship meant a lot. And the fact that I really don't talk to him to this day, I'm just hoping he's doing good. And I think factually speaking, you know, and this friend, so we would usually play a game on a very consistent basis whenever he would have time off work or whenever I had time off work, or sometimes I'd be unemployed, and we would be able to just spend time with each other in a sense where we would just enjoy each other's company and playing the same game for multiple hours. I really tried to introduce him to multiple games, and he didn't really like it. So I was like, fuck's sake, I have to play this game again, right? And I'm like, oh, I have to play this game again. And it's just like, I never really liked it in the first place after quite a while. And I don't play it anymore, really. And it says a lot, things in life move on in a way where life only becomes better after since I've left that game. Not that I'm doing great, but better. Better for sure. 100%. So, story wise, what me and him did, we would, in a sense, this is where it gets dark, just for a warning. We used to talk about not just our emotions, but the emotions would be how we would want to make a choice of never wanting to come back. Something that you would do where you wouldn't be able to just wake up the next day. It's a choice, like I say, you can't come back from. So, in reference, it would be, killing yourself, right? And me and him would really touch upon that emotion. how we wanted to give up. Life isn't going the way you want it to, and in a sense, you'd have no purpose. You don't really see yourself living because it feels like every day is the same thing, and you don't enjoy anymore what you used to do, really. It wouldn't be just, you know, in general of what we did, it wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be me who was the problem, right? So that was the good thing. It wasn't me. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm someone he came to because he didn't have anyone else to talk to. And even if I was someone who was an online friend, I really still remember the one time I opened up to him and he was really there for me. And he really understood my situation. And I think that was the greatest feeling of we may not know each other in real life, but somehow, in some sense, he was there to guide me when I needed someone the most. It wasn't easy to just open up, and the comfort of having someone to be able to open up because you don't know them, they're an online figure, you know they live in another country, they're a stranger, you don't even know what they look like. All you ever hear is their voice and when they play with you, right? That came until the day he opened himself up. You see, in my perspective, I thought everything was going okay for him. You know, I thought he was doing great. I thought he would be making life easy for himself. I think at the end of it, he did become better, but I'm sure he still suffers from the same feeling. Even if we don't talk anymore, it still resonates with me in some way. See, when he would open up, he would he would tell me how he had a relationship that really took a toll on him, and it wasn't just you know, a short-term one. It was knowing someone since your childhood, something I can't really relate with. So I would never be able to understand that emotion, right? I know what it feels like to love someone, but I don't know how it feels to know someone for so long, listen to the same music, grow up doing the same things you do, and in fact saying he opened up in a sense where he was able to tell me that they played the same game together. The same game that me and him played, right? She was the reason he started playing that game, and they broke up one day. And it was his fault. You know, he just ignored her one day. He really didn't feel like having a relationship anymore. And he regretted it so much that he just doesn't have the balls to pretty much talk to her again. I'm sure he has by now. At least apologize in some way. But, you know, that was one of the things. And and I think also on a factor is he never got along with his parents, so it would always feel like go do uni, go do this, go do that. You know, he was doing uni, but whenever he finished something he was doing, especially when it came to university, he ended up doing something completely different. And well, in fact speaking, he ended up having a good job, right? He got a decent salary in the country he lives. It was above average, and for his age, you know, that's crazy. You know, he worked out something. Money wasn't an issue for him, which was a good thing, right? But even in that speaking sense, you know, money didn't make him happy. It didn't really, you know, he was able to move out of his parents' house. He was able to have his own apartment. He was able to play whatever the fuck he wants. He was able to work from home and sometimes go into the office, but he never was truly happy. You know, he literally told me one day he hasn't seen anyone as a friend in a very long time. He always sticks to himself. He never even really interacted with his colleagues. He never really searched for a friendship, in a sense, like people that he could be with. And that was, in fact, probably one of the scarier things that I think was that he wasn't just lonely, he really didn't know how to open up to people that he was close with. And take away from the fact that, the closest to him was someone who would just consistently do the same thing with him every Monday evening or every Wednesday, every Thursday, just, oh, when can you hop on? It's not like he would go, oh, bro, I need to talk to you, and he wouldn't do that until he literally was on the verge of pretty much wanting to be gone. And I remember receiving the first call ever from him and him telling me that. And I was so shocked because I never really saw this. I only really knew him as a guy who we just played friends with. And then when me and him would play together, he would just, you know, he would just never tell me something about his personal life to the detail where I could see him going through that. And it wasn't until he would open up to me that, I understood him in some sense. As much as I really hated opening up at that time of my life, I really didn't see myself, you know, being the person who he should have told that, because I don't think I was helpful, in fact. I think I was just telling him not to do it. You're stupid, all of these things, because in fact I've been through it myself, but it's just like I don't know how to tell someone that. I don't know how to really open up in a sense where it makes sense to you know to tell the other person they're not alone, to tell them that there is something's going right for you, and the problem is, if they can't see it themselves, then it won't avail to anything. So the times he did call me to talk to me one-on-one, I think the reason we ever got so close to knowing each other, even if he was someone, a figure I knew online, that we just play games with, right, is I think that he really didn't have the person to have the outlet for, and in a sense he wouldn't really be able to just find that within anyone else, right? I think the scariest part would be him not being able to have that person in person, right? Having them to hug him or whatever, something like that, right? Just being there for the bro. It's not something you really can sense, even on an online call. Someone's telling them something so deep that, in fact, they want to make a decision that they can't come back from, and the only thing you could really do is just try and be there for them, right? Try and give them advice, you know. And it'd be so funny because in the same calls we would stay up all night playing games, shitting on people, and having a great time of our lives. Those are the gaming memories I can't take away. The person, the one-on-ones that I had with him, I don't think I'll have something like that ever again. I don't think I'll find a game where I meet someone online randomly, be able to spend time with them, and then them open up in such a way where, even if it's bad, they don't open up in such a way where it's so drastic, right? So yeah, I think that's the story. It's just, be there for someone who needs you, even if it's online or someone who doesn't really know how to open up. If they ever do one day and you never saw it, just be there for them, right? Because obviously this person now, I don't know what he's going through. And, you know, at the time when I was with him in his life, it was something he really appreciated, I think, because he never knew that his closest friend, just would I think the moral of the message is, you know, as hard as it is for him to open up to me, I think the best thing you could do is, whether it's your family, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your partner, your co-worker, your friends, online friends, if they open up, just be there for them, really, because I don't know what this guy's going through now. And, you know, he might have money, he might have a job that he has some passion for, he might have something going for him. He was able to move out of his parents, he graduated, while I'm having the opposite issues for myself. um, he had something in his life, but he still didn't see the worthiness of living it. And I think the scariest part is, once you have that tendency to not want to understand that, yeah, you still have something going for you, but no one understands you, reach out to anyone. I'm sure that they'll listen, And if you're the person who has to listen to them, just try and give the best advice you can, right? Because, I still wish I could play games with him to this day, but life moves on and it's not the same as it used to be. And yeah, I think the lesson today is just open up in a way that you understand that people will be there for you. They will want to hear you. As much as, I tell you to build yourself up, you can't do it alone. You need some support. You need someone to talk to. You need someone to outlook for you. You need to, have a fan, have someone who sees your journey, someone who will believe in what you are, that will make it happen. And I think that's it today. I really wanted to touch upon him as a friend because he was a good friend, and I think he's cries for help as much as I was there for him. I hope he's doing better now, but if I could go back in time, I would. I'd still be playing games with him to this day, because I think since then, games haven't felt the same for me. They aren't something I do for entertainment anymore. I'm sure I can play a game or two, but within a couple of hours, I feel a little empty. And that's because I don't really have anyone who talked to me in a way like that ever again. It's been years. And yeah, I hope he's doing good. As much as you are. I think that'll be it. Goodbye.